Welcome. I'm the Parliament Raven. Welcome. Pull up a seat, pour yourself a cup of tea. My name's Jason Rodriguez, and I'm the Parliament Raven. Today's episode is called The Fire Audit. What keeps your fire going? And I was thinking a lot about this concept due to the fact that on Instagram and some of the other platforms I do talk about the quest and the journey a lot. I use those analogies a lot for the process that we go through as we achieve our aims and our goals. And the core that drives that concept, for me at least, is the fire. And that really does come from my Christian background in believing in God. And there's a lot of those analogies within the Bible and the Word. So let's start with the question. If I asked you right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your fire? Would you say, are you lit? Are you lukewarm? Or are you low on embers? And I remember many times in my life, these kind of questions being asked of me. You had the times in junior high and in high school and even in college where these questions about how's your fire doing, how's your faith going, how's your journey going, was asked. And then somewhere along the way, you hit your 20s, you're out in the real world doing your job, finding your questing group, your job, your aim and focus as it evolves with you. And somewhere along the way, people stop asking. They don't ask anymore. So we can't grow something we can't evaluate. So think with me, imagine with me, open that mind's eye, and you're setting up a fire. Let's use the beach as the area since I don't live far from it. You're setting up a fire on the beach. You have your circle. And where do you start? Do you have old embers and broken down bits of firewood that's not going to help you? Do you need to remove that? Then remove it. And then you got to set up your fire, your combustible. And some people use pallets, which is very dangerous. I like to use classic pieces of wood. And the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts taught me to set it up in a teepee close up and then have something in the center to continue to start that fire. Yeah, I learned how to use a bow and a stick to actually get a flame, but matches and a lighter are great. I don't like using barbecue lighter fluid, but we're still in our imaginary fire, and you get your fire going. It's blazing. It's good. But then what do you do? How do you tend it to keep it going? And are you going to use that for cooking? Are you going to do you just want to get more flames out of it? Do you want to control the smoke content? Evaluating a fire is very personal in the sense that if you're the one in charge of it, there's certain things you want that fire to do. And that's why we're using this analogy. It's the same way we need to view it for our own personal fire, right? So I asked you those questions earlier, and some things you can write down as we go through this journey together on this podcast. Journal what your current fire level is from 1 to 10. How do you truly feel about what keeps you going? Another question. And what sparks your movement? What keeps that flame going? And when you throw in another log or another thing to keep that fire going, what is it? The fire, definitely, we're not talking about emotional hype. We're not talking about those things that get you there for 1 or 2 days and then just disappear like the morning dew. We're talking, when we talk about this fire, and that's inside you that keeps you going, that motivation, that thing. It's a steady burn of passion, of your presence, of your purpose. And I ask you those questions about what keeps your fire going and what sparks you, because there's multiple catalysts that are needed to keep our own internal fire going. For me, that's always going to be faith, hope, and love. Of course, you have my 4 C's, right? Community, coaching, and the other two. Not going to keep boring you with saying the same thing over and over again. But as you read the Bible or as you seek wisdom, it seems like we are designed to burn, to be a bright light, to be a star amongst the skies in our own story, right? That hero upon the quest, upon the journey. And when we get stuck or we get into NPC, that fire turns into embers, and sometimes it's just a thing of smoke. Some things that could kill our fire: overcommitment, hidden insecurities, isolation, being in a constant state of consuming and not creating, false accomplishments, video games, board games, just things that say you've achieved something, but you really achieved nothing. I know for me, when I play games like Final Fantasy or Call of Duty, unlocking those achievements comes with a mental high, a serotonin burst in my head. But then it's gone and there's nothing really there. The whole reason I stopped playing some of these things is that there really wasn't any accomplishment. I was missing the world around me, missing the stuff, living in the present. Had my best friend pass away who was also on the same journey in the same steps that Shane was talking about, going out and learning more photography and seeing more of nature rather than playing games. And yeah, we played some before he passed, but that was just so we can stay in community and talk to each other. And sometimes we wouldn't even play. We'd just get on chat and talk. That's just me reminiscing. So these fire killers, getting back to the fire killers, there's some scriptures that go with them. I have 2 written down here. Because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. And we've seen that with deconstruction and even people who are in just normal life, losing faith in motivation to continue to do something as media and news. If you're consuming that negative information, it smothers your fire. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers. John 15:6. I don't know if that kind of applies, but I feel like it does. If you're not burning, or if you're burnt out and you're not abiding in the Lord for renewal, there's a problem there. And this is specifically for believers. If you're on the journey of seeking the truth, and I'll continue to point you towards Jesus and Adonai and the life and wisdom that and joy that a relationship with that entails. If you're just a regular viewer, you know what smothers you, right? So how do you build and to sustain a fire, right? What are the pillars, right? What are the things, the logs that are creating tent that we can continually refill and put into our fire that we have envisioned on the beach in our head that we have from the beginning, right? Books, scripture, wisdom. Being with other people who are on the same journey is definitely a breath of fire. When I exercise, I like CrossFit a lot because there's people cheering you on. They're breathing fire. They're completing, and then they're watching you complete. And if you're struggling, they're rooting for you to complete too, because they want you to succeed like they are succeeding. They want your growth. They want somebody to not just compete about, but walk in that journey and quest for fitness. I find it to be very healthy style of exercise. Music and worship definitely help. Right, we talked about our soundtracks of life, and that definitely can be a sort of gasoline for our fire, depending on the thing we're doing, or depending on the situation, going to an interview, you pump yourself up with music, or leaving a job, you have an exit music. Definitely think of the movie Wanted, where he leaves his job to go become an assassin. Not a wholesome movie, but mentor coach relationship can be the oxygen or the breath that's needed in a fire. Say your embers are low. Definitely perspective, family member that, or even a parent who pours into you that knows you well to help you with that oxygen. And that's not always the case. We talked about my mom and her bad advice, and countless of coaches and mentors who I tried to get and just flaked out. But if you find one and you have one, keep it up, be good, maintain that relationship. Other things you can do. You can use trials as kindling, right? A trial brought into your life can do one of two things to your fire. It can kill your fire because you're overwhelmed. You don't seek the help. You don't get the oxygen from the mentor. You don't go you hang out with people who are going to help you. You don't read anything. You just curl up in a little ball and say, I don't want to do it anymore, man. Or you can use that trial as kindling. God doesn't waste firewood, and neither should we. Your pain should become your fuel to help motivate you. And not that God is causing pain, but we put ourselves in situations or get into situations by our decisions, and there's consequences for those. And sometimes not even our decisions, other people's decisions causes consequences, and that can affect our fire and can cause a trial. But if you use that as a way to boost or something, a way to turbo, and I think of anime characters who do this all the time and that we want to be like, many people want to be like. You got Goku and Naruto. You have all the crew of One Piece. Luffy himself gets beat countless times and uses that trial to get stronger. I have to get stronger. I must get stronger to protect my friends, to continue to be the Pirate King. You have Ichigo from Bleach. He wants to continue to protect his family and his friends. And you see these shonen characters that continue to get stronger because of the trials. The whole lit RPG book world is based on growth through trial, right? So in your own world, in your own journey, in your own solo leveling, if you will, definitely using trials to push you to the next level would definitely, with support, is key to getting that fire to go. And if there's no trials going on, if you are trapped in some sort of NPC life, you need to back up and reassess. And it's okay, and I've said this in the NPC life podcast topic, that if you want to live that, if you're good at being the NPC, you like getting up, doing what you do, the same thing every day, every week, and then going to bed and repeating your weeks, hey, there's plenty of people who are very satisfied with that lifestyle. I know for me, it's just not a thing. I'm always looking to grow in some way, shape, or form. Remember to seek out or even create fire fuel moments. What are those moments for you? Those fire fuel moments, mountaintop events. You climb a mountain, you see a breathtaking view. You visit a art museum. I saw Mr. Brainwash's art museum yesterday. It really impacted me. I loved it so much. That definitely fueled my fire to help create these podcasts today that I'm doing. So what fire fuel moments are you creating? Because they don't always have to be trials. You can create your own, right? You can set up your own challenges. I definitely do that in my book my scheduling book. I set up challenges and stuff. And one day I'll produce something where you guys can buy what I do in a book if you want. I'll produce it and put it out there, and somebody else can print it. I got the faculty for that. But creating these challenges, that really is my coaching model. And for those who have been clients of mine or students of mine, you know I always set goals and challenges before you that are always challenging and tough, because that helps keep your fire going. And giving the advice and or the encouragement to continue to break through is always key, right? That's why I said you need to find one of those good mentors and coaches out there. Challenge of the week: look at your trial or create a fire fuel moment for yourself. I would like, if you have some great ideas for those, please post those in the comments for the video, or even in the Apple. The Spotify stuff doesn't let me respond to you guys, so you do that. You could go to my Facebook group for the Parliament Raven, or you can even post those on the Parliament Raven Instagram or my Substack on Substack, which is Jason AAR Rodriguez. You can find me there, and you can see the podcast stuff. There's a link there should be a link here in the bio of this video. Anyways, tell me some of your ideas for file fuel moments. Till next time, pour yourself a cup of tea, and I'll see you soon.
Like, subscribe, leave a good comment. Thanks for visiting the Parliament. If you want to know about Gravitas coaching, please visit gravitas.co. It's also where we host the Parliament. Join the conversation on Facebook at the Parliament Raven Podcast. Last but not least, the intro and outro music credits. Intro music by Russ Budgeon and outro music by Sarnav Aravistov.